1915, John Smith, a Chippewa elder living deep in the woods, claimed to be 137 years old. His weathered face holds a century of memories embodying the deep mystery and enduring resilience of the Native American spirit. New York City, 1932, Charles Ebbets captures workers casually eating lunch on a steel beam high above the city. This iconic image freezes a moment of fearless ambition, defining the grit and courage of the Great Depression era. Hollywood, 1928, silent screen star Dolores Costello poses with timeless elegance, known today as Drew Barrymore's grandmother. She embodied the height of early cinema glamour, bridging the gap between silent films and the talkies that would soon follow. Philadelphia, 1957. A teenage fan watches in awe as Elvis Presley electrifies the pond stage. Her screams echo the birth of rock and roll, a cultural shift that challenged tradition and redefined American youth identity forever. New York City, 1964. 3,000 construction workers stand proudly near the Chase Manhattan Bank. Their faces reflect exhaustion and triumph, representing the anonymous labor force that built the modern skyline and powered urban America forward. United States, 1926. 2-year-old Lonzo Hudgens smiles unaware of his future. Born in 1924, he would eventually sacrifice his life aboard a tanker in France during World War II, leaving behind a Purple Heart and a family's lasting love. United States, 1900. An American mother and daughter hold the flag together in a quiet pose. Their shared patriotism reflects hope and continuity during a time when the country was redefining itself amidst immigration and industrial growth. United States, 1946. A prisoner of war returns home to a relieved embrace. This emotional moment captures the trauma and joy of reunion as families across the nation welcome survivors back from the devastation of global conflict. Great Plains 1880 Sioux Nation teepees stretch across the open land beneath a vast sky. This scene captures a way of life rooted in community and nature just before westward expansion permanently altered indigenous existence. Florida, 1958. 19-year-old David Isom enters a segregated swimming pool, breaking the color line, though officials close the facility. His quiet act stands as a powerful moment of resistance in the long struggle for civil rights. New York City, 1958. An engineer wires an early IBM computer in a room humming with innovation. These massive machines mark the dawn of the digital age, laying the foundation for technology that would reshape the modern world. United States, 1969, Lester Rogers invites Officer Clemens to share a pool soaking their feet together. Broadcast nationwide, this simple act of kindness quietly challenged segregation, teaching children a lesson in empathy and shared humanity. Japan, 1925. A young couple captures their reflection in a mirror using early camera technology. This intimate selfie reveals affection and modernity, proving the desire to document love and identity existed long before the digital age. Zabrze, Poland, 1987. Dr. Zbigniew Religa watches his patient after a 23-hour heart transplant as his assistant sleeps in the corner. The image captures a powerful moment of dedication, sacrifice, and medical breakthrough. Germany, 1931. A Hanukkah menorah stands illuminated in a window against a Nazi banner across the street. This quiet defiance symbolizes faith and courage in a society rapidly moving toward intolerance and unimaginable tragedy. Minnesota, 1908. An Ojibwe man spearfishes calmly in shallow waters. The photograph preserves traditional knowledge passed down through generations, highlighting the deep cultural continuity and relationship between indigenous communities and the natural world. London, 1940. A milkman continues his rounds over rubble during the Blitz. This routine act amidst destruction embodies the true meaning of perseverance, showing how ordinary citizens carried on with life despite extraordinary danger. New York City 1973 Central Park offers a green sanctuary between towering skyscrapers. Families and wanderers share the space, reflecting the city's resilience and the enduring human need for nature within a chaotic urban landscape. United States 1973, Lieutenant Colonel Robert Sturm reunites with his family after 5 years as a prisoner of war. The emotional charge of the moment captures the sacrifice, endurance, and heavy personal cost of distant conflict. United States 1905, Zuya Hiyaya, known as Goes to War, stands with his daughter. This portrait reflects strength, lineage, and the unbreakable bond between generations during a period of profound change for Native American nations. United States 1968, a couple watches the beyond Apollo 8 launch, eyes fixed on the sky as the rocket rises. It carries humanity beyond Earth, symbolizing hope, unity, and the daring ambition of the space age. Arctic region 1920, an Inuit man teaches a young boy to shoot. This lesson represents the transfer of survival skills and trust, essential for life in an extreme environment shaped by ice tradition and community. Vienna 1946, 6-year-old Werfel clutches new shoes donated by the American Red Cross. His smile reflects post-war relief and the small comforts that helped restore a sense of childhood after years of devastation. Des Moines, Iowa, 1918, 18,000 soldiers form a living Statue of Liberty. This massive display merges military discipline with symbolism, reminding the world of unity and the ideals defended during the Great War. Palm Springs, 1944, Rita Hayworth relaxes in a locker room between tennis matches. This candid moment reveals Hollywood glamour softened by wartime normalcy, capturing a star briefly stepping out of the spotlight. New York City, 1925. Hugo Gernsback demonstrates the Isolator, a helmet designed to block distractions with its oxygen supply and narrow vision. It reflects an early fascination with productivity and the future of human focus. Amsterdam, 1929, citizens band together to rescue a horse trapped in a canal. The scene captures urgency and compassion, showing how collective effort can turn an everyday street into a moment of shared humanity. London, 1972. Actress Ute Stensgaard poses on a rally chopper bicycle with its high handlebars and banana seat. The bike defined 70s youth style, becoming an icon of the era before BMX took over. Liverpool, England, 1962. A mother leads her children through a narrow slum alley. The brick walls close in, capturing working-class resilience amidst poverty and a city still rebuilding its identity after the war. Cambridge, Massachusetts, 1995. Researchers at MIT experiment with wearable computing. These bulky prototypes hint at a future where technology integrates seamlessly into daily life, foreshadowing the smartphones and constant connection we know today. United States, 1928. The USS Langley, the first American aircraft carrier, sails the open sea. This experimental vessel marked the birth of naval aviation, proving that aircraft could dominate the oceans and transform warfare. Berlin, Germany, 1899. Passengers ride an electric omnibus through the city, quiet and futuristic. For its time, the vehicle represents early urban innovation, proving electric transport existed long before modern sustainability debates. Nottinghamshire, England, 1917. Female munitions workers guide massive shells along factory lines. With men at war, these women powered industry, their precision and endurance sustaining the front, while reshaping gender roles forever. Paris, France, 1918. A Senegalese soldier uses new prosthetic arms after losing his limbs in World War I. The image reflects sacrifice, colonial contributions, and the medical advances attempting to restore dignity after industrialized warfare. New York City, 1931. A steel worker appears to touch the Chrysler Building spire while building the Empire State high above the streets. This illusion captures the daring ambition and human scale of the Great Depression skyline. St. Louisville, Ohio, 1910. A worker balances atop a pole to change a street lamp. This everyday task highlights the quiet transformation of American towns as electricity replaced gaslight reshaping public life after dark. Tunisia, 1976, actor Kenny Baker eats a sandwich between takes on the set of Star Wars. This simple meal contrasts with the cinematic fantasy around him, reminding us that iconic sci-fi was built by ordinary people. Philippines, 1912. A Filipino-American family poses for a formal portrait. Their calm expressions reflect migration, blended identities, and family pride during a period shaped by colonial rule and global movement. United States, 1991. President George H.W. Bush uses a massive secure cell phone while golfing. The device symbolizes early mobile communication and how emerging technology began following leaders even onto the fairway. Berlin, Germany, 1961, residents lift children to see grandparents across the newly built wall. This brief visual connection captures the heartbreak of families divided overnight by the brutal politics of the Cold War. London, England, 1985, Freddie Mercury and David Bowie stand backstage at Live Aid. Two legends share a quiet moment before changing music, history united by a global concert that fused art and activism. New Zealand, 1905, a Maori woman displays traditional moko tattoos. This portrait preserves identity and cultural continuity during an era when indigenous traditions faced immense suppression under colonial influence. Korea, 1904. A boatman navigates calm waters, his posture shaped by routine labor. The image reflects pre-industrial river life, where skill and intimate knowledge of nature were essential for daily survival. Akerno, Italy, 1943. A soldier stands inside a damaged church during the Italian campaign. Ruins surround him, illustrating wars, intrusion into sacred spaces, and the personal toll carried by occupying forces. San Francisco, California, 1907. The Cliff House Hotel burns dramatically just years after a previous fire. The blaze reflects the city's vulnerability and its stubborn determination to rebuild again and again. King Island, Alaska, 1920. A native woman holds her child against a stark coastal backdrop. The bright photograph conveys warmth amidst harsh conditions, preserving family bonds shaped by isolation and the environment. North Sea, 1915. A cat mascot strolls along the barrel of a massive naval gun. This whimsical moment contrasts sharply with the machinery of war, showing the need for companionship even in conflict. Kimberley, South Africa, 1954. A diamond mine worker undergoes an X-ray search. The image reveals the intense surveillance and control used to prevent theft in the high-stakes global luxury industry. Cologne, Germany, 1945. American soldiers attend Mass in the rubble of Cologne Cathedral, surrounded by destruction. The gathering reflects faith and the human search for meaning as the war neared its end. Tokyo, Japan, 1935. A delivery man balances stacks of soba noodle trays while cycling speed and skill to find the job, capturing urban efficiency and culinary tradition in pre-war Japanese life. United Kingdom, 1856. A color sergeant of the Scots Guards poses proudly, a veteran of the Crimean War. His uniform and posture reflect the discipline and long military traditions of Victorian Britain. United States, 1860, an ambrotype captures a mother holding her joyful baby, since early photography required stillness. The child's candid smile is a rare intimate treasure from over a century ago. Korea, 1954, Marilyn Monroe performs for thousands of troops. Her presence boosted morale, blending Hollywood glamour with Cold War geopolitics and the emotional needs of soldiers far from home. Los Angeles, California, 1915. A mail carrier stands beside her horse. Before motor vehicles dominated animal power, kept cities connected, highlighting women's roles in public service and everyday logistics. United States, 1880, an early mobile telephone weighs 10 pounds and requires physical effort. Crude by modern standards, it reveals humanity's long-standing desire to communicate instantly across distances. Bethel, New York, 1969. Festival goers display Woodstock fashion with fringe and denim. Their clothing reflects rebellion and peace, defining a cultural moment that reshaped music and social values. Los Angeles, 1971. Tippi Hedren and her family live with a full-grown lion. Their household blurred fantasy and reality, revealing a fascination with risk and a different era of celebrity boundaries. Saint-Lô, France, 1944. Two boys watch American soldiers roll through their shattered town. Innocence meets history as they observe the arrival of liberation amidst the rubble and uncertainty of war. Monte Carlo, 1975. Formula One. Rivals Niki Lauda and James Hunt laugh together behind the fierce competition. The moment reveals mutual respect and the human bond within a dangerous sport. Mediterranean Sea, 1967. Peter Sellers relaxes aboard his yacht, away from the cameras. The comedian appears calm, offering a rare glimpse of the man behind the constant reinvention of his characters. Beverly Hills, 1954. Marilyn Monroe appears solemn after filing for divorce. Fame surrounds her, yet vulnerability shows through reflecting the emotional cost of living life under relentless public scrutiny. Hollywood, 1921. Chess prodigy Samuel Reshevsky plays Douglas Fairbanks, while Charlie Chaplin watches talent and fame converge, capturing a playful moment where cinema legends and a child genius share concentration. Illinois, 1956. A police officer places a segregation sign at a railroad station. The act formalizes injustice, freezing a moment when discrimination was law, foreshadowing the resistance soon to come. London, 1940. A reader stands among the ruins of a bombed bookshop. Pages survive where walls fell, embodying the spirit of learning and imagination persisting even while the city burns. Japan, 1905. A woman balances buckets on her head while carrying children. The striking image reflects endurance and maternal strength, revealing how work and family were physically intertwined in daily life. South Carolina, 1912. Young oyster shuckers begin work before dawn. Their tired hands reveal the harsh reality of child labor within America's growing industrial food economy. Colorado, 1939. Joe Arity plays with toy trains days before his execution. Intellectually disabled and innocent, his story became a haunting symbol of injustice, later acknowledged by a posthumous pardon. Aachen, Germany, 1961. A seal balances a doll during a circus performance. Children watch in delight, while the spectacle reflects entertainment traditions that blended wonder with the unquestioned use of animals. Los Angeles, 1932. The Mickey Mouse Club gathers for a group photo. Early fandom takes shape as Disney builds a community, marking the beginning of organized youth culture tied to entertainment brands. Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, 1911. Orville Wright climbs out of a glider as Wilbur steadies it. The image captures experimentation in progress as aviation pioneers pushed limits that would redefine global travel. Van Nuys, California, 1947. A cyclist tows an Airstream trailer to prove its lightness. The stunt merges athletics and marketing, showcasing post-war optimism and America's fascination with modern design. Selma, Alabama, 1965. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. leads a kneeling protest, Silence becomes resistance, and the image captures the moral courage that helped push America toward voting rights reform. Berlin, Germany, 1961. Parents lift children to see family across the wall. This fleeting connection captures the heartbreak of division as politics split families overnight with concrete and wire. Paris, 1989. Tina Turner poses near the Eiffel Tower, radiant and powerful. The image reflects her reinvention as a global rock star who commanded stages on her own terms. United States, 1981. A young Dwayne Johnson stands beside his wrestler. Father's strength and legacy are visible early on, capturing a formative moment before he became a global icon. Jerez, Spain, 1938. Archaeologist Manuel Esteve wears an ancient helmet. He unearthed the playful pose bridges history and modern scholarship, showing how the past becomes tangible through discovery. United States, 1970. Muhammad Ali chats with a young fan in a diner stripped of spectacle. The champion appears approachable, embodying the charisma and cultural weight he carried beyond the deer ring. United States, 1961. Actors pose as aliens for The Twilight Zone. Science fiction reflects Cold War anxieties, using fantasy to explore fear and humanity's place in an uncertain future. Los Angeles, 1992. Scott Baio and Pamela Anderson are photographed dating. The snapshot reflects tabloid culture when private relationships became public entertainment in a growing media spotlight. Blythe, California, 1935. A migrant family from Oklahoma rests roadside. Dust Bowl hardship defines their journey, capturing the resilience and displacement of the Great Depression era. St. Louis, Missouri, 1904. Lumberjacks pose on a massive tree stump. The display celebrates industrial might while unknowingly symbolizing the environmental loss tied to America's rapid expansion. England, 1905. A wicker walker supports a child learning to stand. The device reflects early child care blending, craftsmanship and care before plastic transformed the tools of childhood. Yosemite, California, 1879. A cart passes through a tunnel carved into a sequoia. The spectacle illustrates 19th century tourism, a time when nature was shaped to impress visitors. Polotsk, Russia, 1900. A Jewish woman washes laundry by hand. The quiet routine reflects tradition and dignity within a community soon to face historical upheaval and persecution. Navajo Nation, 1904. A Navajo man wears a ceremonial warrior mask, captured by Edward Curtis. The portrait reflects spiritual identity and early photographic efforts to shape perceptions of native cultures. Los Angeles, 1979. John Travolta and Marilu Henner pose at the height of fame. Their chemistry reflects 70s pop culture when sitcom stars shape fashion and a generation's memories. Stockholm, Sweden, 1867. A family stands before their summer home. Their composed posture reflects stability and leisure during a period when photography was a rare and deliberate event. New York City, 1904. Guests gather for an elegant dinner at the Hotel Astor. Crystal and formal dress reveal Gilded Age luxury where social ritual defined elite urban life. Butler County, Missouri, 1939. An evicted sharecropper family shelters in a camp. Their faces show exhaustion, capturing the human cost of economic collapse during the Depression. Washington, D.C., 1975. President Ford does push-ups in the White House. The playful display humanizes leadership, projecting vigor during a politically fragile post-Watergate era. United States, 1943. Veronica Lake demonstrates factory dangers with her hair published in wartime media. The image warned women workers while symbolizing Hollywood's role in safety messaging. London, England, 1919. Crowds observe silence for the armistice. Anniversary hats remove the streets. Pause to honor sacrifice as a shaken nation reflects on unprecedented loss. United States, 1915. A father and son laugh for the camera. Their casual joy captures early family intimacy, revealing warmth rarely seen in the formal photography of the era. Tampa, Florida, 1913. A barefoot newsboy sells papers. His small frame highlights child labor realities, where poverty forced children to work before laws reshaped American childhood. Grand Canyon, Arizona, 1914. Early cars line the canyon rim. The scene marks the rise of tourism when motor travel first made dramatic landscapes accessible to ordinary families. Johannesburg, South Africa, 1956. A sign enforces racial separation. Its blunt message reflects apartheid freezing, a moment when inequality was legally mandated in public spaces. Hong Kong, 1989. An aerial view shows the dense Kowloon-walled city, claustrophobic and self-governed. It symbolized urban extremes before its demolition erased a unique experiment in survival. United States, 1965. A family heads down Route 66 with a camper. The journey reflects post-war freedom and the belief that memories were made by motion, not just destination. United States, 1974. A woman paints her nails under a hairdryer. The moment captures everyday beauty rituals and the quirky convenience technology of domestic life. Brittany, France, 1933. Charles de Gaulle walks gently with his daughter. The quiet moment reveals the tenderness of a future leader often remembered only for his authority. Florida, 1895. A teacher stands outside her one-room schoolhouse. The image reflects dedication and isolation, capturing rural education where single teachers shaped entire communities. Detroit, Michigan, 1965. Travelers wait in the soaring Michigan Central Depot, once bustling with optimism. The space symbolizes industrial strength before economic decline left it abandoned. North Atlantic, 1941. A bulldog mascot stands, alert on a Navy deck. Amidst wartime tension, the dog offered comfort, reminding sailors of companionship during relentless patrols. Italy, 1944. A soldier shelters from rain under a tank. The improvised refugee captures irony as a machine of destruction becomes protection for a man enduring the weather. United States, 1965. A massive 5-megabyte hard drive is loaded onto a plane, fragile and huge. It represents the infancy of digital storage before technology shrank to fit our pockets. Dresden, Germany, 1946. Ruined buildings stretch across the city. The aftermath of bombing reveals long-term devastation where silence testifies to war's enduring imprint. United States, 1938. Albert Einstein plays the violin. The quiet moment shows the balance between intellect and art, reminding us that creativity and curiosity often coexist. United States, 1931. A 4-year-old digs potatoes with family small hands, work the soil, illustrating how hardship drew even the youngest into shared labor during difficult years. Netherton, England, 1909. Workers forge the Titanic's anchor. Chain, heat, and muscle dominate the scene, reflecting the industrial pride behind engineering feats meant to conquer the oceans. New York City, 1950. A worker walks a girder high above the street, balanced against the sky. The image captures the courage and routine danger behind modern urban skylines. United States, 1904. A father poses with his 4 daughters. Their serious expressions reflect photographic customs, preserving family structure and generational continuity. Central Oregon, 1908. Workers climb a rope ladder high above a river. The perilous commute underscores the labor risks accepted during America's rapid infrastructure expansion. Auburn, New York, 1911. Harriet Tubman sits quietly at home. The photograph preserves the dignity of a woman who spent her life fighting slavery and injustice with extraordinary courage. Dubuque, Iowa, 1940. Children play among shacks by the river. Poverty defines their surroundings, yet the image captures childhood adaptability and persistence during the Depression. London, England, 1936. Princess Elizabeth poses with her corgi. The affectionate scene humanizes royalty, revealing a child's bond with her pet before duty reshaped her world. New York City, 1935. Margaret Bourke White balances high up to take a photo, fearless and focused. She embodies ambition while redefining women's roles in photojournalism. Newark, New Jersey, 2001. Nicole Carroll Miller boards. Flight 93, ordinary and unaware, the moment freezes a life mid-motion, later symbolizing innocence lost in a national tragedy. Los Angeles, 1975. Actress Terry Garr poses casually, known for comedic timing. The image reflects 70s Hollywood, where personality mattered as much as glamour. Washington, D.C., 1981. President Reagan jokes with Frank Sinatra. Laughter softens the inaugural ceremony, revealing how politics entwined with celebrity culture. United States, 1855. A young girl scowls during a photo. Her expression defies sweetness, reminding us that personality existed even when early portraits demanded stillness. Andes Mountains, 1973. Snow blankets, the site of a plane crash. The landscape remains serene, contrasting natural beauty with the memory of human survival and tragedy. Los Angeles, 1965. Anne Margaret stands poised at the height of stardom, blending glamour with energy. She embodied a bold new femininity that defined mid-century pop culture. Oklahoma City, 1995. Smoke rises from the Murrah building. The attack scarred a nation, exposing how domestic extremism could unleash terror far from any battlefield. New York City, 1865. Young Teddy Roosevelt watches Lincoln's funeral procession. The solemn moment imprints itself on a future president as the nation says goodbye to its leader. China, 2018. A boy arrives at school with frozen hair. His determination to take an exam inspired generosity that transformed his community and school. Bombali, Senegal, 2020. Sadio Mane reinvests success into his hometown. His generosity funds schools and hospitals, redefining legacy beyond sports trophies. Switzerland, 1910. Hermann Rorschach poses quietly. His work would outlive him, becoming one of psychology's most recognizable tools for understanding the mind. New York City, 1976. Robert De Niro appears with his wife. The candid moment captures a private life unfolding alongside an increasingly intense public career. United States, 1942. Joe Biden is born closer to Lincoln's presidency than his own. This fact compresses history, reminding us how rapidly time folds generations into a single narrative. Afghanistan, 1992. A Buddha statue stands intact before destruction. The image preserves heritage, later erased, symbolizing the loss inflicted when ideology turns against history. Oxford, England, 1971. A teenage Osama bin Laden appears unremarkable. Decades later, the image unsettles, showing how ordinary beginnings can precede lives that reshape history through violence. Washington, D.C., 2012. Barack Obama sits alone in a classroom, revising a speech before addressing a grieving nation. This quiet moment captures the heavy burden of leadership, just minutes before he stepped out to honor the victims of Sandy Hook. Tokyo, 1945. Firestorms engulfed the wooden city. Below this devastation marked one of the deadliest air raids in human history, signaling a brutal turning point in modern warfare that left the capital in ruins and changed strategy forever. Rome, 1933. The ancient Meta Sudan's monument stands one final time before demolition crews arrive. Its removal under Mussolini shows how regimes ruthlessly reshape landscapes, erasing inconvenient traces of the past to build a new sanitized vision of history. Colombia, 1985, police officers dump massive quantities of seized cocaine directly into the sea. This dramatic destruction symbolizes the sheer scale of the illicit trade and the desperate, often futile struggle to stem the tide of drug trafficking. New York City, 1940, George Metesky plants his first explosive device. This act launched a decades-long campaign of terror by the Mad Bomber, demonstrating how a single man's deep-seated grievance can evolve into a citywide paralysis of fear. Lake Riccia, Italy, 1950. A lonely bell tower rises from the water. It marks the site of a submerged town, sacrificed for hydroelectric progress, leaving only this stone memory protruding silently above the lake to remind us of what was lost. Galapagos Islands, 1976. Diego the tortoise ambles slowly across the rock. His exceptionally long life eventually helped save his entire species from extinction, proving that survival sometimes depends on patience and endurance rather than speed or aggression. Copenhagen, 1969, Judy Garland appears fragile yet dignified in one of her final public moments. The image captures a brilliance worn thin by decades of fame, showing a beloved star nearing the tragic end of a turbulent life. France, 1929, Albert Einstein and Marie Curie sit lakeside in conversation. These two scientific giants share a rare moment of quiet reflection, reminding us that even the minds that changed the world forever still sought calm in nature. United States, 2025. The final Lincoln penny is minted at the Treasury. The coin's disappearance signals how long-held physical traditions quietly fade from daily life, marking the end of an era as the economy shifts fully into the digital world. Berlin, 1989, East German soldiers stand uncertainly as the wall falls. Their authority dissolves before their eyes, leaving uniforms intact, but their purpose gone, capturing the precise moment. History shifted and left the old guard behind. United States, 1945, anti-aircraft fire targets the planet Venus in the night sky. The bizarre incident reveals the depth of wartime anxiety, a time when fear was so palpable it blurred the line between celestial bodies and enemy threats. Cleveland, Ohio, 2019. A failed bank robber hands over a demand note written on paper containing his own name. The absurd mistake proves that while crime is serious reality, sometimes writes its own punchlines, leading to a very quick arrest. Spain, 1943. A corpse washes ashore carrying fake invasion plans. This elaborate ruse deceived Nazi intelligence, saving thousands of lives during the invasion of Sicily and proving that victory is often shaped by deception rather than brute force. Isle of Wight, 1960. A whimsical shoe-shaped house decays in the deep woods, built as a novelty. It stands silent and moss-covered, a forgotten experiment in architecture that has been slowly overtaken by the relentless march of time. New York City, 1922, Lotta cheek poses after a beauty contest scandal. The photo reflects changing standards of femininity in the roaring 20s and the growing spectacle of public admiration that would come to define modern celebrity culture. United States, 1958. Children climb freely on high bars under minimal watch. The scene captures a vanished era of parenting and trust where physical risk was considered an essential part of play rather than a danger to be managed. United States, 1973. A returning prisoner of war faces a heartbreaking betrayal upon arrival home. The image exposes the hidden personal aftermath of Vietnam, where survival in the jungle did not guarantee peace or stability in the living room. United States, 2017. Paris, Jackson speaks candidly about her identity. Encouraged by her late father, she claims pride in her African-American roots, challenging societal assumptions based on appearance and redefining what it means to honor one's heritage. United States, 1980, a teacher poses in the same outfit for his yearbook photo. Yet again, what began as an accident becomes a beloved tradition, turning simple consistency into a quiet, decades-long joke shared with generations of students. Libya 2010, a storefront openly sells pirated Western media. The display reflects how global content circulates freely in regions where regulation struggles to keep pace, creating a gray market that connects isolated populations to the wider world. Rock Island, Illinois, 1995. Students react with shock to the O.J. Simpson. Verdict disbelief ripples through the room, capturing a collision of justice, race, and media that polarized a nation and defined the cultural landscape of the decade. Italy, 1982. A young man who would become Pope stands in contemplation. The image captures a quiet moment of faith, preceding a future that would be shaped by global leadership and the heavy burden of guiding the Catholic Church. Brooklyn, 1941. An informant plunges from a hotel window. His death abruptly ends his testimony against powerful syndicate figures, leaving behind questions that official explanations fail to answer, and highlighting the brutal reach of organized crime. Kansas, 1908. A teenage prisoner poses for a booking photo orphaned and abused. His harsh sentence reflects a justice system unprepared to understand trauma or youth, treating a desperate child with the full severity of the law. Utah, 2003. Aaron Ralston photographs himself while trapped in a canyon. Days later, he would make an unthinkable choice to survive, turning a moment of desperation into a defining story of human endurance and the will to live. United States, 1844. A daguerreotype claimed to be Joseph Smith emerges if authentic. It offers a rare visual connection to the Mormon prophet, blending faith and history in a single controversial image of a man who changed religion. Germany, 1937. Adolf Hitler bowls casually at a gathering. The mundane scene unsettles the viewer, serving as a chilling reminder that the architects of history's greatest horrors also inhabited ordinary moments and wore the mask of normalcy. Colorado, 1999. A handmade sign appears in the snow after the Columbine shooting. Its message urges quiet reflection, offering fragile wisdom and community support amidst the overwhelming shock of national grief and a tragedy that changed schools forever. Hollywood, 1951. Marlon Brando appears raw and sweaty in a streetcar named Desire. His intense performance redefines the art of acting, shifting the industry toward vulnerability and realism, breaking the polished mold of previous movie stars. Berlin, 1977. Debbie Harry and David Bowie meet backstage. Two cultural innovators cross paths, embodying an era where music, fashion, and gender identity were constantly being reinvented by those brave enough to push the boundaries of art. Egypt, 1940. Princess Fawzia poses with breathtaking elegance. Her poise symbolizes the height of a fading monarchy, capturing the glamour of a royal house, standing unknowingly on the edge of a sweeping political transformation and revolution. Cuba, 1959. Che Guevara stands alongside Fidel Castro. The image captures a moment of revolutionary unity before the realities of power reshaped their ideals into governance, leading to decades of controversy and a shifting geopolitical landscape. United States, 1925. A tattoo parlor operates openly on a city street. Once considered taboo body art persists here, marking personal identity long before mainstream acceptance, serving as a haven for sailors and rebels alike. Prague, 1937. Clerks work beside towering cabinets of files. The massive paper archive reflects the human drive to categorize knowledge, a physical monument to memory before the digital age arrived to replace these walls of paper. England, 1951. Actors bring the Mad Hatter's Tea Party to life. In a garden, the whimsy of the scene masks deeper reflections on time and absurdity, bringing Carol's surreal world into reality for a brief afternoon. Long Island, 1958. Boys gather at a local hobby shop window. Their faces glow with anticipation, capturing a mid-century culture fueled by curiosity, model planes, and the boundless imagination of a generation looking toward the sky. United States, 1927. Women model evolving swimwear designs as fabric recedes. Personal freedom expands, marking a significant shift in changing attitudes toward leisure modesty and the right of women to enjoy the beach on their own terms. Hälsingland, Sweden, 1885. A bride stands solemn in traditional dress. The portrait preserves a distinct regional identity and custom at the very threshold of industrial change, capturing a world that was about to disappear into modernity. England, 1873. Humpty Dumpty appears in a vivid illustration. The character bridges the gap between nursery rhyme and visual culture, showing how simple stories endure through centuries to become shared touchstones of childhood imagination. Paris, 1866. Alexandre Dumas poses with a female performer. Literature and theater meet in this frame, reflecting the vibrant social circles of the 19th century, where fame, intellect, and performance were inextricably intertwined. Istanbul, 1850. A jester performs at the Ottoman court. Humor survives even strict hierarchy offering. Sanctioned folly within the imperial order and reminding us that laughter has always been a necessary escape, even for sultans. United States, 1987. Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter film Together. Their infectious energy captures a moment of youthful optimism and friendship before global stardom would arrive to reshape their paths and define them as icons. Berlin, 1989. A soldier passes a flower through a crack in the wall. The gesture foreshadows the collapse of the barrier, symbolizing humanity slipping through the cracks of division just before the concrete finally came down. France, 1988. Soccer legends gather to promote an anti-drug charity match. The image glows with irony today as the brilliance of their athletic careers coexisted with personal contradictions, highlighting the complex pressure of sports fame. England, 1937. Tiger cubs climb playfully on their keeper. The moment captures a sense of innocence before the modern awareness of captivity and conservation ethics changed how we view the relationship between wild animals and humans. Hollywood, 1955. James Dean adjusts his camera lens. The actor's restless gaze mirrors a career defined by intensity and brevity, capturing the artist looking back at the world just months before his tragic death. Haifa, 1946. A couple reunites on the dock after years apart. Their tearful embrace marks survival and the fragile rebuilding of lives torn by genocide, a personal victory amidst the wreckage of post-war migration. Los Angeles, 1956. James Dean stands alone in a promotional. Still, the image freezes his youth, on the edge of myth, capturing the exact moment just before immortality replaced possibility and transformed the actor into a legend. Michigan, 1985. Poet Joseph Brodsky sits with students, cigarette in hand. Exile turned educator, he transmits language, memory, and discipline, shaping minds through conversation rather than authority. London, 1985. Freddie Mercury records One Vision, energy-focused and precise. Studio walls contain a voice that commands stadiums, revealing the labor behind performance and the relentless pursuit of perfection. Sacramento, 1988. Dorothea Puente is arrested as police uncover bodies buried in her boarding house. Her grandmotherly appearance masks calculated murder, shocking the public and redefining assumptions about trust, danger, and evil. United States, 2023. The Treasury ends. Penny production closing a chapter of everyday currency inflation renders the coin obsolete, signaling how even the smallest symbols of value eventually disappear. Europe, 1943. A ball turret gunner curls inside a glass sphere beneath a bomber, isolated and vulnerable. He faces freezing air and enemy fire, embodying the claustrophobic terror of aerial warfare. Nevada, 1908. An unidentified man dies after eating library paste. The bizarre tragedy reflects early industrial chemicals, poverty, and misinformation when everyday products carried unseen risks. United States, 1988. Matthew McConaughey poses with his date at prom, years before stardom. The future actor appears ordinary, unaware that charisma and chance will soon propel him into Hollywood spotlight. Berlin, 1989. The wall falls as crowds celebrate history, shifting overnight. Concrete barriers collapse under hammers, and hope ending decades of division